Hello, my name is James,
Alastair.
And Trent.
and today in this video we're going to be covering the topic of symbiosis. So we're going to start off with what is symbiosis? Symbiosis is the relationship between two or more biological organisms. It's everywhere around us, from the bacteria in your gut to the bees and trees around campus or those pesky mosquitoes that ruin your barbecue.
There are three types of symbiotic relationships. The first being mutualistic, where both species benefit. A good example of this would be pufferfish and cleanerfish. The cleanerfish receive a food source from eating the dead skin and parasites off of pufferfish, while the pufferfish get better health and cleaner skin. The second type of relationship would be parasitic. A good example of this would be mosquitoes sucking blood out of humans, where humans lose a little bit of blood and can be exposed to infectious diseases. The mosquitoes gain nutrients. The third type is communalism, which is the least common. A good example of this has been immortalized in the movie Nemo, with clownfish living in sea anemones. Now, why should you care? Many species on Earth have evolved over time to depend on other species. These relationships have been deeply ingrained into many of our ecosystems, and without these, our planet would look very different. One of these relationships is between honeybees and the plants they pollinate. The bees collect pollen from many plants to create honey. From going from plant to plant, they greatly increase the cross-pollination of many important crops such as apples, guava, and coffee, all of which humans are very reliant upon. Another example of symbiotic relationships that help feed us is bacteria that fix nitrogen to the roots of many legumes, a staple food in South American countries.
Bacteria is heavily involved in our symbiotic relationships, and in between humans and animals alike, there are popular preconceived notions that all bacteria is a health hazard rather than a benefit. However, it works both ways. There are good bacterial strains that help us along with those that harm us. Through scientific studies, we've been able to identify, cultivate, and eventually harvest these helpful strains of bacteria, known as probiotics. A lot of these Eastern countries in the world have looked towards probiotics and incorporated them heavily in their diet, as they've been shown to prevent illnesses and solidify one's health. These foods tend to be like kimchi, kombucha, and yuca. Symbiotic roles have shown that even our own gastrointestinal tract, that bacteria live there, serves as a purpose by helping boost our immune system and our digestive function. An example is Helicobacter pylori, a harmful bacteria that can cause stomach ulcers, and that can be reduced through the use of probiotics.
Continuing with the exploration of these symbiotic relationships for human benefit, a paper in 2009 from Nature showed that the Wolbachia bacterium reduced the rates of infection of malaria and dengue fever in Aedes aegypti. We could potentially use this relationship for human benefit and disease transmission. So this next slide is going to show the presence of Wolbachia without Wolbachia, and this is for mosquito eyes. So on the left-hand side here, we can see all the dengue fever in red, and on the right-hand side is all the Wolbachia in green. So this next picture is from the same paper, but this is the midgut of the mosquito, and here we can see how the Wolbachia in green isolates the dengue fever, which is really neat. Now this next slide is for Plasmodium oocytes, or malaria oocytes. They're essentially how the malaria transforms, and we can see that the Wolbachia positive only has one oocyte, while the Wolbachia negative is chock full of them. Now what's interesting about Wolbachia is it's found in 2/3 of all arthropod species. So this paper used a Wolbachia melanogaster strain, which is found in fruit flies. So if we could potentially use this strain in tsetse flies to help curb the transmission of human sleeping sickness and nagana, as well as maybe use it in ticks to help curb Lyme disease and other infectious diseases. And this has really cool potential for everlasting effects. 5 takeaways we want you to walk away from this video is knowing what symbiosis is. It's how two or more biological organisms interact with one another.
There are three main types of symbiosis: mutualistic, parasitic, and communalism. And these aspects can be seen everywhere in human life.
Probiotics are helpful strains of bacteria that outcompete the harmful strains of bacteria.
And the potential of symbiosis has impacts on controlling vector-borne diseases.